My name's Colin. I live in Bath in the southwest of England. This is my channel, the A Nay or My channel. And today is a rather exciting day. Well, arguably an exciting day, but it's exciting to me anyway, in the world of Oscar punditry, because today is the day that the shortlists for many, many categories get published. Most critically for me, or at least what I, up until this year, I've mostly been concentrating on is Best International Feature. I mean, that's been one of my things for years, is what wins the Best Foreign Language / Best International Feature award. But also things like Best Documentary Feature, I mean, because God knows what happens with documentaries. I mean, there's always surprises. In fact, there's always surprises in pretty much every category. And weirdly, I'm also really, really interested in the Best Original Song competition. I mean, I've got rather obsessed about that over the last couple of years. I mean, it started out when Wajaje got nominated for Best Original Song for Killers of the Flower Moon. And I personally didn't think that should have been eligible because, in my opinion, that was a chant, not a song. So I started thinking, well, what did it beat to get into the nomination list for the Best Original Song? And that led me down a rabbit hole, and I've been kind of obsessed with that category for the last couple of years, and particularly in relation to Diane Warren. I mean, I've already done a video about Diane Warren and her continuing efforts to get a competitive Oscar, but that could be the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail this year, because there's a pretty good chance, I think, that Diane Warren is going to get on the long list, the 15-song long list for Best Original Song, for a song she wrote for a documentary about herself. And that's just so incredibly incestuous. That might happen. I don't know if I want that to happen or not, quite honestly, but there's a lot of songs I'm very interested in, and some I'd be rather annoyed if they did get in, even though they're probably going to. Nothing that pisses me off as much as Al Mal did last year. But yes, I'm interested in Best Song. I believe that there's also going to be a shortlist for Best Score. And the one thing I'm interested in that category is if the very electronic, very experimental score for the Spanish film Sirat is in the shortlist. I mean, because it was done by this guy, or the guy who calls himself Kang Ding Ray. And it's basically trance music. And if that gets into the Oscars for Best Original Score, that will be something. But yeah, that's the one other thing I'm really interested in. So mostly I'm interested in these announcements in Best Documentary Feature, Best International Feature, and Best Original Song. Those are the three that I'm really, really interested in. And yes, I mean, I've literally got my laptop on my lap because it's going to be text, and it tends to be rather small text on the Oscars website, and I'm overdue for an eye test, so there we go. Right, so let's bring up these announcements, which I have literally been waiting for all day. I mean, I started waiting on the website at about 1 p.m. UK time, because that's when the nomination announcements get made. But that was always going to be slightly premature, because getting up at 5 a.m. California time to announce the shortlists for the Oscars is not really something that needs to be done, I don't think. But yes, I have been waiting all day. Apparently they were finally released at 7 p.m. UK time, which is a lot later than I was anticipating. Right, so here we go. Animated short film, don't care. Casting, don't really care. Cinematography, don't particularly care. Oh, actually, did Train Dreams? Yeah, Train Dreams made cinematography. That's the one that I actually am concerned about. Is there anything unusual in that? Song Sung Blue got cinematography. Okay. Sirat got casting shortlist. Okay. Right, documentary feature. Right, The Alabama Solution, Apocalypse in the Tropics, Coexistence My Ass. Okay. That, I think, is kind of a almost a stand-up special as far as I understand it. A female Jewish comedian talking about the Middle East and the relationship between Jews and Arabs in the Middle East and in America. That's a little bit unusual for that to get in. Come See Me in the Good Light, that did get in. Cover Up did get in, which is interesting. I saw that a couple of days ago about the investigative journalist Seymour Hersh who uncovered the My Lai massacre and later also was involved in uncovering the Abu Ghraib prison. So, yeah, a campaigning journalist, but he is slightly controversial in recent years. But it was a good documentary, but Oscar-worthy, maybe not. Cutting Through Rocks. Don't know what that one is. Right, what's Cutting Through Rocks? Oh, okay, this is an Iranian documentary, or a documentary in Iran, about a female counsellor in an Iranian village fighting against child marriage and teaching girls to ride motorcycles. Sounds interesting. So, yeah, campaigning documentary about Iran, and I think that's going to come up a lot in these nominations. Folk Tales. Oh, that's the one about the Norwegian school in the Arctic Circle, I believe. I think that's just gone on Storyville, so I'll be able to see that one. Oh, Holding Liat did get shortlisted. The documentary about the American family of one of the Israeli hostages that was kidnapped on October 7th. So, yeah, the crisis from the Israeli perspective. Mr. Nobody Against Putin, the film about the militarization of Russian schools. I mean, that was horrible to see. Mistress Dispeller, don't know what that one is. A Chinese woman hires someone to secretly end her husband's extramarital relationship in attempt to save her marriage. Huh. Actually, there was a New Zealand comedy film from about, 5-10 years ago called The Breaker-Upperers. People like Madeline Sami in it. That sounds like a somewhat similar thing to that. My Undeniable Friends Part 1, Last Air in Moscow. The only thing I've heard about this is it's 5.5 hours long. So, yeah, that's going to be fun. I mean, A, trying to find it, and B, actually trying to watch it. But what is it actually about? Okay, so that's Julia Loktev, a filmmaker I'm vaguely familiar with, but honestly, well, I recognise the name, but I don't recognise any of her films on IMDb. Where do I know the name Julia Loktev from? Well, whatever. I mean, it's 5.5 hours of independent journalists in Russia fighting against the propaganda of Putin. So that's another anti-Ukraine film. The Perfect Neighbour, which seems to be the favourite. I mean, I don't know. Oh, Seeds. I think that's one about African American farmers. Is it? Yeah, a look into the lives of black generational farmers, unveiling the challenges of maintaining legacy and the value of land ownership. Okay. 2,000 Meters to Andrivka. The backdrop I've currently got. One of the most devastating films I think I've ever seen, and that's saying something. Yanuni. What's Yanuni? Don't know that one. Indigenous chief Juma Jipaya fights to protect tribal lands despite assassination attempts. Her struggle intensifies after learning she's pregnant. Okay, so I think that feels like it's Brazil, maybe. Yeah, it's Brazil. That's what did make the list. What didn't make the list? Good Cup. Oh, the Diane Warren documentary didn't make it. But it never was going to. Oh, Deaf President Now didn't make the shortlist. That was a pretty high profile one that didn't make the cut. Oh, The Librarians didn't make it. The film about the fight against book banning in United States libraries. I'm a little bit surprised that one didn't make it. That was me. Oh, My Mum Jane didn't make it, but I thought that was always a really, really long shot because the Academy just doesn't go for documentaries about individuals. So Mariska Hargitay making a film about her mother didn't make the cut. Oh, Orwell 2 + 2 = 5 didn't make it. Haven't seen it, but I do really love the work of Raoul Peck, so it's a little bit disappointing he didn't make the cut. Oh, Predators didn't make it, which is a shame. I thought there was a chance that Predators would make it because that's a really fascinating documentary about the TV show To Catch a Predator. Oh, Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk didn't make the cut. Yeah, I should have realised that earlier. So Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk, a documentary about life in Gaza, where the filmmaker, the subject of the film was killed by an Israeli airstrike before the film premiered at Cannes. That's a big one. So Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk didn't make the cut, but Coexistence My Ass did. Which, as far as I'm aware, it is a little bit more of a light-hearted look at the troubles in the Middle East, and Holding Liat made it. So yeah, Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk did not make the cut. That's disappointing. Oh, The Tale of Cillian didn't make it. Which I thought there was a decent chance that would. I mean, the North Macedonian documentary from one of the makers of Honeyland. So, yeah. Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk didn't make the cut. I think that honestly says quite a lot about the current state of the world and the current state of the Academy. Okay, what have we got next? Right, international feature. Alphabetical order by country, okay. Right, so, Belen made the cut. I actually just saw that the other day. That's the Argentinian film about a literal miscarriage of justice. A 26-year-old woman in 2014 in Argentina had a stomachache, went to the hospital, and by the end of the day, she was in jail because apparently she was suffering a miscarriage, and then she was arrested for performing an illegal abortion for having a miscarriage. And it not only is this sort of like a campaigning film, it reminded a bit of Spotlight, of a group of people investigating this case really, really strongly, and the social things. I mean, a female woman's body. I mean, there were mass protests by the end of this case. She spent 3 years in jail for having a miscarriage. So there were lots of women on the streets campaigning about this. And also in this specific case, it looks like the police really, really fucked up. Because yes, there was a fetus, but there's some evidence that it wasn't actually this woman. So yeah, Belen is a really interesting campaigning film about female body. The Secret Agent made it, of course it was going to make it. I don't like that film. It Was Just an Accident. Okay, so that means A Poet and Mr. Nobody Against Putin both missed the cut. That's disappointing. Sound of Falling. Homebound made the cut. Okay, the Indian submission. The President's Cake from Iraq. I really, really need to see this one. I didn't. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to watch it before the actual ceremony. Oh, Kokuho, the Japanese film, which is apparently sort of like a big historical epic. All That's Left of You made the cut. I did like that film, but I really don't think it should be eligible. It's just not Jordanian, and yet Jordan has managed to get a submission in All That's Left of You. Sentimental Value, obviously. Palestine 36 made the cut. Interesting. No Other Choice, obviously. Sirat, pretty obvious. Late Shift made the cut! Yeah! I really, really like Late Shift. It didn't feel like the kind of film that the Academy generally goes for, but it's a very simple, very pretty straightforward story about a nurse, a dedicated nurse, having a really, really shitty day. And the implication is that all her days are pretty shitty. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased with Late Shift. Oh, Left-Handed Girl made the cut as well. Really like that one. And the voice of Hind Rajab. So yeah. Okay, what didn't make the cut? That's what I anticipated. I mean, 2,000 Meters to Andreevka. I mean, it did make documentary, not this. And same with Mr. Nobody Against Putin. And A Poet, the Colombian film. Yeah, that was... I liked that, surprisingly. I wasn't looking forward to A Poet, but I really, really liked it. That's a good film. So yeah, those were the three I had on my last published predictions that didn't make the cut. And it was replaced by Belen, which if I'd seen it before my last list, probably would have been in the list anyway. Homebound, which I thought was a pretty strong chance. And Kokuho, the Japanese film. Those were the three that made it in that I didn't have listed. So yeah, no really, really big surprises in that one. Live action short, don't know. Original score. Okay, music original song. In alphabetical order by film title. Okay. But no, that's not... They said it's in alphabetical order by film title, but it's in alphabetical order by song title. Okay. Alright, As Alive As You Want Me to Be from Tron Ares by Nine Inch Nails. I don't think it's very good. It's certainly not as good as the one they had for Challengers last year, which really should have got more. The Diane Warren one made it. Dear me. Oh, but Clothed by the Sun, therefore, from Testament of Anne Lee didn't make it. That's interesting. Dreamers one from Avatar made the cut. Drive from F1 the movie. Dying to Live from Billy Idol Should Be Dead. Had a listen to that. Didn't really sound that good to me. But it's Billy Idol. It's also directed by Jonas Åkerlund, which is a weirdly impressive director for a documentary about Billy Idol. The Girl in the Bubble from Wicked for Good made the cut. Golden, obviously, from K-Pop Demon Hunters, which I think is going to win. Highest to Lowest did make it. I mean, I actually quite liked Highest to Lowest by Spike Lee, and the song Highest to Lowest from Highest to Lowest is actually really good, so pleased about that one. I Lied to You from Sinners. I'm honestly not a fan of that. I've repeatedly said in many of these videos that the I Lied to You scene is absolutely brilliant. It's fantastic. I don't actually think it's a good song. If you listen to the song, just the song in isolation, I don't think it works especially well. I mean, I'm probably going to be lambasted for saying that, but I'm just not a fan of that. And the second Sinners film, Last Time I Seen the Sun, that's also made the cut. And that one does surprise me because I honestly don't think that's a good song either. I mean, of the songs in Sinners, my favourite is Pale Pale Moon, the song that Perlene sings and was co-written by Brittany, what's her face from Alabama Shakes. That's my personal favourite song from Sinners, and yet they submitted Last Time I Seen the Sun. I don't actually think that's a good song, but it made the cut. No Place Like Home, the set. So 2 songs from Wicked, 2 songs from Sinners. One Love from the Ballad of Wallis Island made the cut. Yes, I was so worried that wouldn't make the list, but I really, really like that. I mean, that I like that film, The Ballad of Wallis Island, and the whole film to some degree is centered around that one song, and it's actually pretty damn good. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased about that. Yes, Salt Then Sour Then Sweet, the song from Come See Me in the Good Light, the documentary. This, I actually think this is my favourite of the songs. I mean, I think I might actually want this to win over Golden, because the not only is it, in my opinion, a really, really good song, the story behind it is brilliant. So what the documentary Come See Me in the Good Light is about the poet Andrea Gibson, who in about 2022 was diagnosed with cancer. And they fought it off, but it spread and it kept on coming back. And eventually they were diagnosed with incurable cancer. They were still alive as the film premiered at Sundance. I don't believe they were well enough to attend the premiere, but by the time the film came out on general release, Andrea Gibson had passed away. And for over the end credits, they play this song Salt Then Sour Then Sweet, which is based on, I mean, I'm not sure if it's entirely a poem by Andrea Gibson, but it is based, at least, on a poem by Andrea Gibson. And it was set to music by Sarah Bareilles and Brandi Carlile. If this does get nominated, I believe that would make Andrea Gibson one of a very, very few individuals who are non-binary or identified as non-binary who would get an Oscar nomination, and also would be a posthumous Oscar nomination. I believe Lily Gladstone identifies as non-binary, and there's probably a few others, but Andrea Gibson, it would be really, really cool if that actually got a nomination for Best Original Song, because I personally think it's a really, really good song, and the narrative behind it is, in my opinion, excellent. So I'm really, really glad that made the cut. Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verdi. No idea. I mean, I did have a quick look. I mean, I went through the list of eligible songs last night, and picked out ones that I thought might get into the list. So I've listened to most of these, the ones that I hadn't already listened to in the films. Got no idea about Sweet Dreams of Joy from Viva Verdi. I don't know what the fuck that is. Guess I'm going to have to listen to it now. And Train Dreams from Train Dreams by Nick Cave. Don't like it. I'm, in general, a really, really big fan of Nick Cave. I think he is an incredibly talented performer, singer, writer, all those kinds of things. This particular song that was over the end credits of Train Dreams, I don't think it's actually that good. But it's got a very good chance of actually getting a nomination. So out of the ones that I picked out last night, that's pretty much most of the ones that I felt really strongly about. I mean, there's some I'm disappointed didn't make the cut. The song Baby from Freakier Friday, that's actually a rather good song. I actually quite like that. Yeah, Clothed by the Sun not making the cut. That's the really, really big one. Odina Simone from the film Opus. Now, Opus was not a good film, but that song, written by Nile fucking Rodgers, was very, very good. So yeah, I'm disappointed that didn't make the cut. What else? Oh, My Baby Got Nothing at All from Materialists. That was one I really liked. I'm disappointed that missed out. And one of the strangest collaborations I've come across in a while, the animated film The Twits, based upon the Roald Dahl novel, I mean, and from what I understand, very, very, very loosely based on the Roald Dahl novel The Twits. There's a song called Open the Door in it, and it's actually pretty damn good. It's a collaboration between David Byrne of Talking Heads and Hayley Williams of Paramore. That's a bizarre combination for a film like The Twits. I mean, I'm eventually going to have to see The Twits because it's on the official animated feature list, but getting two very talented but very diverse people to collaborate for a song for The Twits, and it's actually pretty good, I think. Yeah. Oh, Rabbit Run by Idols was the song that was done for the Caught Stealing soundtrack, the Darren Aronofsky film. Too sort of like edgy and cool and aggressive to actually get in there, but I really, really like that song by Idols. Yeah, those are the ones that I picked out that I'm disappointed didn't make the cut. But yeah, the big surprise is Clothed by the Sun from the Testaments of Anne Lee didn't make the cut. That's surprising. I mean, and both Wicked for Good songs made it in, and both Sinners films made it in. I mean, because those are the only two songs that the makers of Sinners actually submitted to the Oscars, and they both made it in. But I'm really, really pleased that Our Love from The Ballad of Wallace Island and Salt Then Sour Then Sweet from Come See Me in the Good Light, I'm really pleased that both of those made the cut. So yeah, that's me happy for that. Is there anything else that, well, let's just have a quick scan through the... God, The Electric State got shortlisted for visual effects. Oh dear. Oh, Surratt got a sound shortlist. That's interesting. Original score. Yeah, the score for Surratt did make the cut for score. That's cool. So maybe there will be some trance music in the Oscars score category. Diane Warren Relentless made the cut for score. There isn't any score in that film. No. What the fuck is Truth and Treason? I bet that's somebody famous who did the score for that, because I've never heard of that film. But yeah, that got in the list for score. Makeup and hairstyling. Oh, Kokuho, the Japanese film, made the cut for makeup and hairstyling. That's interesting. Oh, The Ugly Stepsister, the Norwegian film. That's actually really, really cool. That probably deserves a nomination for makeup and hairstyling. But Frankenstein's probably going to win that one. Oh, that or Sinners, I think, is probably going to win makeup and hairstyling. Never seen any of the live action shorts. Or the documentary shorts for that matter. Or the animated shorts. Anything that stands out? Nouvelle Vague got cinematography, shortlisting, and Surratt. I mean, Surratt has picked up quite a few below the line shortlists, which is interesting. Yeah, Song Sung Blue for cinematography. I haven't seen that one yet, but going to be interested seeing if that actually is anything. Yeah, okay. So, I think the two things that genuinely surprise me, that genuinely shock me, well, not shocked necessarily, but I expected them to happen and they didn't happen, is that Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk didn't make the cut for documentary feature, and Clothed by the Sun, the song from the Testament of Anne Lee, didn't make the cut. Don't think it made it into the Golden Globes either. So, yeah, it did get a Critics' Choice nomination, but not a Golden Globes nomination for Clothed by the Sun. Okay, that is that for this video. I mean, nothing really strong to react to, apart from the fact I'm really pleased that Our Love and Salt and Sour and Sweet made it in Best Original Song. I'm probably the only YouTuber who actually cares that much about Best Original Song, but I've really gone on a deep dive over the last few years. But yeah, I think that is where I leave you. So I've got 3 other videos in various stages of editing and production to do, but this was what came out today, so I basically spent all day waiting for this. I probably should have gone out, and I was kind of planning on seeing a screening of the documentary Prime Minister about the New Zealand Premier, or former New Zealand Premier Jacinda Ardern. But that didn't happen, and it didn't get shortlisted anyway, so yeah. Okay, that was the shortlists for the 2026 Oscar ceremony. If you've watched this far into the video, maybe I deserve a like. You can also leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do anything which helps the algorithm promote this tiny little channel. But for right now, I think that is where I leave you. And all that remains for me to say is this has been a presentation of the Yay, Nay or Meh channel. And I will see you next time, where I shine a light on TV and cinema, both obvious and obscure.